Um, Sorry about that whole turning around and everything. Not my braces. Oh my god. Now I gotta go rinse my braces off. Really just did something. I just got finished eating, so now I have my aligners all looking crazy. But anywho, so that's what I just dropped. I I know I look like a real slouch right here while I'm laying in this doggone thing and my boobs are showing. I promise you, I haven't gained any weight. It's just the boobs. I promise you, it's the boobs. Um, I got finished from work today, and I had to go for a meeting. Um, and my boss wanted me to stay in, but I was like, no, I need time to reflect. Like, after I got finished with this meeting, I was like, I really need time to just reflect and get my thoughts together and go about my business. Um, as I was doing that, I was thinking about my cousin. My cousin's husband just had a birthday. Like, November is the birthday month for my family, like, on both sides. November, and it's usually like not August. Uh, what's the other month? Is it August? It's November and September. That's what it is. November, September. Um, like when it gets towards the end of August, that's when it boom, boom, boom. But it's November and September. So, and especially like November is almost every day. Like yesterday was my cousin's husband's birthday. Today is my aunt's and one of my cousins' birthday. Before that, last week, the same day, today was my mom's birthday. The day before that was my cousin, two cousins. Then, like, going back was all cousins and, uncles and all that. So, um, yeah, it's like broke season. Then, holiday season coming up and all that other crazy stuff. So, you can see my little tear duds. So crazy. Um, so, uh, I wanted to go and tell her, tell her husband happy birthday, And I just felt like as I was reflecting, and because I just got, like I told you, I had this opportunity come up to me with this whole, with my whole business, uh, you know, um, reaching more people. And I didn't really have to break the bank in doing it. It was so crazy. Like God made it happen. But anyhow, so I just felt like I needed to tell her thank you, and I told her how I was feeling that day, and I was like, Snooky, because I call her Snooky. Everybody calls her Snooky, okay? But her name, she's named after my grandmother on my mother's side, which is Eloise, and that's not really a black name. That's like, a Native American makes the name, but that's what my grandmother was. So, um, but we call her name is Eloise. We call her Snooky. Um, And I was like, Snooky, I just feel like I need to thank you for all those times because I don't know if you like know it or not. I really look up to you because you always doing something. Like she's always going out and she's always being a really go-getter. Now my cousin, now there are some times that I do be laughing at her because most of my family, we used to be thinking of her as the black sheep. That's how because she was just so rambunctious. She used to have a lot of men, um, just a lot of men. And I don't know if that dealt with low self-esteem, trying to find herself. She did say a little bit about that, but that's what I remember about my cousin, but I also remembered a lot of things that um, we don't really talk about in our family about what she does. My cousin is like the most go-getter person. She's had the most innovative ideas in my life. Like my family is really creative, but she is very creative as far as starting new businesses, and she knows how to attract people. She knows how to talk to people. Um, and she has a real like good spirit about it. And I was like, it helped me a lot to branch out and have that go-getter spirit, even though you know some of her attempts didn't look like they were successful. It helped me a lot to get enough courage to do the things that I was doing. Like, okay, with her, she was doing, her and my other cousin did Chicago Idol. Now my other cousin ended up being in the finals of Chicago Idol, and they were with like Kanye West and all that. Now I wouldn't. People when they see the pictures on TV and they saw the videos and they saw the clips, and I'm right next to Kanye, people are like, oh, you know him, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I never couldn't get that opportunity had it not been for my cousin Snooki. Now, Tony, she was the one that was singing, but, and Tony always thought about me too. But my cousin Snooki was the one that was always out there trying to, she'll go at the last. She was just a risk taker. She had a couple of kids when she was younger too, but she's got 7 now, but she's married. But before she was married, she got like, a couple of kids, and people kind of judged her for that. I even did because I was younger, and the family really kind of outcast her a little bit, and I understand what she was talking about, being almost like the black sheep. But I understood, like, now as an adult, I understand, like, sometimes you have to go out beyond limits, beyond borders, and try something new and go hard. My grandmother would tell me that, but at the same time, if you look at it, we kind of like knocking down my cousin for her trying. So I had to tell her that. I was just like, you really motivated me to, get up and go. And even when I failed, because I never had a situation where, okay, I'll tell you this. I am a hardworking person, but I'm also kind of a lazy person. You know, I know sometimes stuff is gonna happen effortlessly, and if you know the laws of the world, the universe, God's laws, okay, you know how things operate, and what God had to get to me, like what happens when you do everything, right, and it does not work out, and she showed me that, like, she would get back up and just go at it. When I had this downfall, I thought it was the end of the freaking world, and how people, she was asking me about Facebook and why I don't get on, and I was telling her, like, sometimes I feel really bad because it feels like I've done nothing in my life, like it feels like I'm a failure when I look on Facebook, and she didn't even really get that, but she was so surprised that she was like, I didn't even know you were inspired by me. She was like, I didn't think you even thought really high at me at all. And I was like, no, that's not the case. Even when I was a teenager, I didn't, my outlook on her changed differently because I started seeing stuff for myself, and I started understanding. If you understand why someone does something that people don't, that you don't agree with, then you kind of, you can have more compassion for them. So that's what I got from there. But she was like, she didn't even know. So that was good to my soul, not only ministering to my soul, but ministering to her soul. Like, things are okay after a while, it might look like it's bad, but eventually it'll come out. If you keep going, it'll get better. Things will get better. So I felt like I needed to make this video because I was like, you know what? I needed to give people their flowers while they're here, because you never know. You never know what you're saying. People say you need to be careful what you're saying because it can hurt somebody, or it can make a difference in somebody's life, both negative and positive, but also what you don't say. Had my cousin not even thought about that, if I would have never said what I said to her, I would have never thought that what she thought that I thought of her, like she thought that I didn't think highly of her at all. That was just like, no, and she didn't even think that of me, think very less of me. She was just like, you've done a lot of stuff and you're in your 30s, and so it makes a difference. So I just had to make this video. Like, if you are out there looking at this, thank you for looking, but don't wait all day. It's never going to be a perfect time to tell someone that they're doing something good, or they're doing something great, or they made an impact in your life, whether it was negative or positive. Like, I even look at and reflect on all the stuff, that I went through here. These people were so tough and mean and cruel to me. I shouldn't have had to go through it, but I had to. But I really had to. Why? Because God was teaching me how to get stronger, how things are not going to, what do you do when things don't look your way? When things constantly don't look your way, okay? You got to keep your eyes focused, and what you might think is death to you might be good medicine for you in the long run. Had I not known that people are really just like that, because I didn't really even think that I was that naive, but you be kind of sheltered when you're around, certain type of people. But had I not known this, I wouldn't know how to guard myself, had I not been through the situation, I wouldn't be able to serve the people that I'm going through. And I wouldn't even have not even that. You can serve, but then you won't have the compassion That's the stuff that you need. Compassion goes with understanding. You can have um, apathy for people or empathy, but compassion is a whole nother ball game. That's applying what you know, and it's a whole different ball game. So um that's what I learned, and I'm glad that I did have this reflection time. You might say that it is, wasteful of time, but I don't believe so. It gave me strength, and it's healing me now. It's medicine. It's literally spiritual medicine, um, for my soul, um, for my mind, for my psyche, like, because I was really like almost feeling like I was going on the deep end. I really did. I thought I was going on the deep end, which it was just God teaching me how to swim, just how to swim, just how to swim without that little life jacket, without the buoy, without the, just relying on Him and just swimming. So yeah, if someone is doing um, has done something that has made an impact in your life, whether you believe it's good or bad, it's made an impact and it made you better in the long run. You learned a lesson from it. You need to thank them, okay? You need to thank them. Don't be like, oh, well, Baba, this I went with this horrible man and I saw this domestic violence in my life, and that's I didn't want nothing of it. You should thank them because they taught you something. You said you didn't never want to do it. You never wanted to be in that situation, or you never want to treat someone that way. That's all life is about, is lessons, and did you learn it and how you applied it. But like I said, um, when the people, sometimes we forget about the people who are around us every day, and we take them for granted. And we should always acknowledge that God put them around us for a certain reason, a time, place, and a season, um, and be mindful of that. And like I said, sometimes we don't say thank you to the people who really are there every day, or who've seen you every day. My cousin, I never told her that, and we grew like in the same house together. Since I was 3 months old. Until I was like, I moved around from different houses, but I ended up living with her like my teenage years and in my adult life when I was going to college. Um, Coming out, it was a lot, because my mom was doing her own thing out, and she couldn't take care of herself, or, so if I wasn't in my own place, I was around, and she never knew that. So yeah, give people their flowers while they're here, because when they're gone, they never know, and you don't want to hold that bottled up. Sometimes we give it to the people who we feel like everybody gives it to, credit to them, or we just forget about the everyday struggles, the everyday things. Yeah, a lot of people, they be ready when you on top, they be ready for the whole, you know, shebang bang to get recognition and all that, but um or they want to greet people and thank them when they at the top. I want to thank you anytime. Anytime you help me, whether I'm at the bottom, top, the middle. I want to thank you because you didn't have to do it. My cousin she did not have to go and take me to different places, like, before I was a flight attendant, to Chicago, to different auditions to see stuff. She didn't have to go, like, even when I did my first pageant, she was the main one that was influencing me to keep going on it. And it was Indiana Junior Miss. And I didn't even place because I was so shocked how, well, they treated me a whole different way too. But I was like shocked, like when I say shocked, but she was still like, she went in, her and her husband now, they weren't married then, but they were still together, they were engaged. And she took me, like drove me to Rensselaer to go do my whole things and videotaped it and everything, So yeah, I had to tell her that. I was like, I really, you got to give your flowers. Because when they're gone, it's gone. When I take my last breath, I don't want anybody in my family to think that I think any less of them, or I don't care. Now, we might have arguments or something, but it's not like, everyone has their own contribution. So you never know that until you open your mouth. So, yeah, basically open your mouth. Give your flowers. Give them their flowers. Um, yeah. And it does matter what you don't say. It does matter what you don't say. I always thought that it didn't matter what you don't say. It only matters what you do say. That's a lie. It matters what you don't say, because sometimes what you don't say can heal. heal somebody who needs to hear it. If you're having it in your thought process and it's really nurturing and it's helping you, it's probably not just there for you. It's there for someone else who might be going through it. So yeah. Thank you for tuning. Hopefully, something I said or done will help you on your journey. And please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. Thank you so much.